My next guest is stepping up on short notice, going to be taking on Joe Giannetti at Cage Titan 77, July 18th. We're just a few weeks away. It is John Simone back here on the program. John, how you doing?
I'm doing good, James. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, it's good to see you again. Of course, I was at your last Cage Titans fight. That was a big win there. And I know you had a fight after this. You just fought a couple weeks ago. So tell me how this fight came together with you fighting Giannetti, getting the call on short notice.
Yeah, so I've been really active the last couple months. I was in Plymouth back in May.
That's right.
Things went well. And then I took another fight. I already had that fight in June. Just 2 weeks ago planned, and then I took the fight in Plymouth. Things went well. Then I went out to Finland, fought there. Didn't get the result I wanted, but it's okay. Got a quick turnaround fight with Joe, and it kind of just was just offered. I reached out to Michael looking to get on the card with pretty much anybody. And he offered me Joe, and I said, yeah. I was like, let's do it. I like the matchup. He's a big name, is super experienced. He's from the East Coast, so I think it's a good fight for both of us. I've been, like I said, really active the last couple months and training. So, I'm ready. I no injuries, so thankfully the last two fights I haven't really taken any big injuries or anything like that. So I've been able to just turn around and take another fight.
Yeah, no, it all worked out really well. And obviously, you know a lot about Joe. He's sort of a name that's been around the scene for a while. What about stylistically? How are you looking at this fight?
It's funny because the last two guys, Zach DeSabatino and Nico Aikinen, have very similar styles to Joe. All three of them are southpaws. Similar styles. I think the only thing that I would say is a little different from all three of them is their grappling. They have a little bit of different styles with the wrestling and the jiu-jitsu, but their striking I feel like is very similar. They're all they all like to fight pretty tall, in and out, southpaw, good straight punches, taller fighters. Joe's tall. My last opponent was tall. At least taller than me. Zach was a little shorter, so it was a little different, but Joe and my last opponent in Finland are the same size, same height, I think same reach and everything. So it shouldn't be too much of a big difference in the game plan going into this next fight. But I think the biggest thing that is on my mind is just me mentally. It's never easy coming back from a loss. So I'm just trying to forget about it, fix what I gotta fix, make the adjustment, and get back in there and just forget about that one. Just kind of build off of it, and I think I'm ready. I don't think the adjustments I need to make or going into the next fight from my last fight are huge. Little mistakes, that I can definitely fix. But I'm ready. I'm excited. I like Plymouth. Cage Titans has been good to me. I'm 2-0 there against some big names. So hopefully, we're gonna make it 3-0. So
Yeah.
it's gonna be a good night.
Take me through camp a bit because again, you just had this fight. So is it like, because obviously you don't want to overtrain. You had a full camp for your last one. Then you had the fight in May. So what does camp sort of look like going into this?
So camp, the last two fights have been good. They've been really intense. Like leading up to the Zach DeSabatino fight, everything was on point as far as my conditioning and just really pushing it. But it's hard to redline for three fights in 2 months. Just every single day. So I've really focused on recovery and making sure that my body's healed up right after every fight. So I'll take a few days off, up to a week, and just kind of rest and eat food, fuel my body up, hit the sauna, hit the ice bath so that my body's not sore. And then I am back to my conditioning. But I think, camps have mostly looked like just staying healthy and staying in shape. And working on the little things that the little adjustments I need to, make going into the next opponent or for my last fight. But I think the biggest thing is staying healthy, especially when you're fighting like every 3 fights in 3 months or 2 months, basically, it's basically staying healthy, obviously you want to win at all costs. If you got to get hurt, to win, then that's what you got to do. But going into a fight, I'm trying to win and stay healthy, and be as smart as possible and, just be ready for the next one. So I think that's the biggest thing I've been focusing on going into this Joe fight is just making sure I make it to the fight. Because just making it to the fight alone is a big deal. A lot of fighters can't do that.
Now, is this at lightweight or are you guys doing a catch weight? I didn't see that part. What weight class is it going to be at?
It's at 160. We're doing a catch
Okay,
weight.
nice.
My last 2 fights I've been at 155, and I asked Michael. I was like, "Hey, you mind if we do a catch weight? You think Joe would be down with the little 160 catch
Because
weight?"
he's pretty big, yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, I rather not cut those last 5 pounds, to 155 again. They're never fun. So I asked for that catch weight, and he said yeah. So I was like, please, let's do it. All right, cool. I mean, I would have gone down to 155 if Joe said no. I would have said okay, let's do it at 155 then. But I'm at I'm trying to fight as often as possible, and honestly, the fights are tough, but the weight cuts I think are what really kind of get to me. I have to make sure my diet's on point. Weeks going into the fight. I'm staying healthy, and it's really tough. Weight cuts are never fun. Nobody wants to starve. Nobody wants to dehydrate. So honestly, I think him taking this fight at 160 was a big benefit to me. And thankfully, he did it. I appreciate that. So it's I'm ready. I mean, I don't have to cut those last 5 pounds. Every fighter knows are the worst. The last couple pounds. So cool. I fought all from 155 up to 175. I've done catch weights, I've done welterweight fights, I've gone up. I feel like I'm a tweener
Mhm.
between 155 and 170, so I can either be a big 155 or a little smaller welterweight. So I mean, but that's okay. I feel like it doesn't make a ton of difference at the end of the day. There's pros and cons, but I'm super happy that we're doing 160. It's I think a good weight for me. I can make, and if I can get these catch weights at 160, 165, even 170, honestly, I'll go up. Just so that I can fight. I'm happy doing it.
Who's making the trip with you down to Plymouth? Who's going to be in your corner?
My coach Hamza and my cousin Ricky
Oh,
Simone.
Ricky is coming down. Nice. Okay,
Yeah,
cool.
yeah, yeah. So we'll be down there in Plymouth, and yeah, just getting ready for this fight. I've been training with Hamza, the last couple months, since we've had fights. He's my striking coach, just helping me, with overall just everything. But Ricky will be able to make it to this one. He was out there in Finland with me. He'll make it out for this one, and we'll see how this one goes after. I'm trying to get another 2, 3 fights after this fight, so hopefully everything goes good, and I get another fight in August, September. Whenever I'm ready.
Okay. And how do you see this fight playing out on July 18th? How's this one unfolding?
I honestly think it's gonna someone's getting finished. I don't think it's gonna go to the judges. Especially after this last fight, I feel like I'm just I'm really comfortable. In there, like I feel good. Just a lot of cage time. I've gone 5 rounds now in the last month and a half. So I honestly I feel good. I don't think that the fight will go the distance. He's a like I said, he's a really good fighter. He's tall, he's lanky, he's sneaky, good. He's a sniper, but I don't think that he's fought somebody with my power. I think if I can touch him, I could really kind of like have him second guessing himself, or even just backing up. But we'll see. Fights are chaotic. You have a game plan sometimes, and then just one punch can change that. Real quick. So we'll see. But I think that the biggest factor will be. my power, my grappling. I think he's, like I said, I think he's a sniper. He's taller, lankier, but I think I'm more compact and powerful, stronger than him. It'll kind of come down to a little bit of technique, his style versus my style, and see who comes out on top. Like I said, I've seen his fights, and he's good. Like, he's got good grappling. He's a black belt. He's a sniper. He's tall. He's lanky. He can keep you at his range. He's in and out. So I got to make sure that I'm really on point. My cardio is good, and I go out there and perform. So I'm ready. I think it'll be a good fight. I think the fans will like this one. Two high level fighters. He's 17-7. That's a lot of fights, a lot of experience at the highest level. I've been active. I've been all over traveling. I don't get any easy fights. So if I get a fight and I'm running, or I'm fighting 3 fights in like 2.5 months, it's not because people want to fight me, or give me easy fights. It's because they're bringing me in to lose. So I gotta prove these people wrong. I'm gonna go out to Plymouth again, with the team, and we're gonna shock the world again. But I'm ready. I'm excited. I love these fights. I think they're good for everybody. I think Joe had an opponent before me who pulled out. So I'm always happy that Cage Titans and Michael are willing to give me a shot, fly me out from across the country in the Pacific Northwest to come put on a show. I'm more than happy.
Yeah.
So hopefully after this one we could get another one. I don't know when the next show is, but always call me whenever.
Well, I was going to ask you about that because if you get this win here, I know it's a catch weight, but Joe's a pretty big name in Cage Titans. Do you think there could be talks of a title after this, just because of the run you've been on? Again, you keep coming in here, getting these wins, defeating a guy like Joe Giannetti. Do you think maybe next it could be like for a title or something like that?
Yeah, for sure. I think so. I think they got me ranked now in the pound for pound rankings.
Yeah.
And I think I should. I mean, I think so. I think I fought 2 big names from Cage Titans: Luis Pena, Zach DeSabatino. If I beat Joe, I mean, I think he's like 2 or 3, maybe top pound for pound on the list, something like that. I don't know who else is above him as far as lightweight, but I think it deserves a shot. I hope so. I would love to have a belt from Cage Titans around my waist. And I've really been working hard. Like I said, I go out there, to put on a show and just kind of prove to everybody that I deserve, all these fights, these big fights, title fights. So yeah, I think so. I hope so. We'll see.
Yeah. And it's going to be taking place July 18th, Cage Titans 77. If you can't make it in person at the Plymouth Memorial Hall, you can check it out live on Spectation Sports. John, thanks again for doing this. If there's anyone you want to thank, any sponsors, any social media you want to mention, I'll give you the last word.
Yeah, shout out to my team, American Top Team Portland. Shout out to all my sponsors, my family, my friends. Thank you guys for all the help. It's not easy taking all these fights. I need a village to help me out with it. All my sponsors, thank you guys for everything. Underdog, the barbers, uh, Cascade Install, Clark County Concrete, Barbaholics, MMA Braids, everybody. There's so many, thank you guys for all the help. And thank you, James, for the interview. I can't wait to see you in a couple weeks. I'll see you out there in Massachusetts. And, we'll get this dub.